Hey guys, today we're going to talk about linear depreciation. So, first of all, what is depreciation? Um, Depreciation is the loss in value of an item over time. So, pretty much every physical thing depreciates in value. I shouldn't say every, but almost everything. Okay, so your car especially depreciates. The minute you drive it off the lot, you just lost 20% of the value of the car. Now, some cars depreciate faster than other ones. Okay, so Toyota Camrys and stuff like that, they hold their value pretty good. Mitsubishi, yeah, those drop in value really quick. Okay, so and things depreciate in different ways. I mean, they can depreciate in curves, they can depreciate in straight lines. It depends on what you're doing and what the item is. Even your house depreciates. But your house also appreciates sometimes. So I used to have a kind of a mentor. He was my insurance man. He used to invest in properties, and he says, I love investing in properties because not only do they depreciate, so he got to write off what they depreciated on his taxes, but they also appreciate in value. So over time, property tends to become more and more expensive because of inflation, and so he became wealthier and wealthier. Okay, so we'll talk about depreciation a lot today. Okay, so here's the thing with linear depreciation. So remember back to algebra, a line is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so we're going to do a little review here. And so let's see if we had a graph, and since it depreciates in value, the lines tend to go like this, okay? And remember, this is your x-intercept right here, and this is your y-intercept right here, where it crosses the y-axis. And remember that m is your slope. That's how steep the line is, and B is your y-intercept. Okay, so what do the following things represent in a depreciation equation? Well, the y-intercept is the value of the item when you buy it. And since I have that in green over here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this into green right here. Okay, the x-intercept, which we have in blue over there, is when the item has a value of 0. Now, a lot of things will depreciate, and according to the depreciation schedule, they have a value of 0, but they really don't. So, for example, if your company bought a car, okay, you own a business and you bought a truck for your business. You have a landscape business, so you needed a pickup truck. So you buy the pickup truck. Now, generally a car, you can depreciate it over 7 years. So what you do is, unfortunately, the first year, you don't get to expense the entire car. All right? There are some things you get to expense, like if you buy paper for office supplies, you get to expense that the first year, and it just comes off your income. Okay, so if you bought, let's say your income for the year was $100, and you bought $10 worth of paper that year, then you subtract that from your income, and so you really only made $90. Okay, but with a car or computers or big value items, if you bought a property, for example, you don't get to write that all off the first year. What you do is you depreciate it. So things depreciate at different rates. A computer is generally 3 years. So basically you take the value of that item, you divide it by 3, and you get to write off 1/3 of that each year. A car is generally 7 years. There's exceptions to some of those. I think you can maybe do it over 5 if you want to. If you buy a property, it's generally over 30 years that you depreciate the property. So, for example, when I told you my friend buys rental houses, he buys a house, he gets to depreciate that house or take 1/30th of his cost of that house and take it off his taxes every year for 30 years. Okay? So you don't get a whole lot of benefit the first year, but you get that benefit over time. Now, so he depreciates a house. If he's had it for 30 years, technically that house is worth zero because he's depreciated it for 30 years. But it has a value. If he went out and sold it, it's probably worth a lot more than when he bought it. Okay, so if he sells it, he actually has some tax issues now because it's worth zero and he sold it for, say, $300,000. That's $300,000 worth of income. So, generally what you have to do with that is you have to invest it in something that's like that. So in another rental house or maybe an apartment complex or something like that. And then you get to push the taxes off for more years. Okay, we'll talk about taxes actually in chapter 6. So the slope of the line is how fast it depreciates. So the slope is going to, since we're talking depreciation, it's going to be negative all the time. And, something that has a value of -3, a depreciation value of -3, is going to depreciate much faster than something that has a depreciation value of, say, 1, -1. So y equals mx plus b is the equation for depreciation. So there we go. Y is the value of the item at time x. So if x is a year, then y is the value after a year. If x is 2 years, then the y is the value after 2 years. Okay? M. Too many bumps there. M is the depreciation. And B is the starting value. So all those things stand for something in the equation. Make sure you understand this. Suppose you bought a car for $27,000. According to your online research, this make and model of car loses all its marketable value after 12 years. Find each of the following. Okay. So, the y-intercept, the x-intercept, the slope, and y equals mx plus b. Okay. So, the original price of the car is the y-intercept because your equation is going to look like this. Okay. Here's going to be year 12. Here's going to be year 0. Okay. The car is going to be worth $27,000 when you buy it. It's going to be worth 0 in year 12. Okay. So the y-intercept is going to be $27,000. Okay. Now, the x-intercept is going to be 12. That's year 12. That's when the car is going to be worth nothing. Okay, what's the slope going to be? Well, the slope, remember you calculate slope. So I have 2 points. I've got the point 12, 0 right here. And I've got the point 0, 27,000 up here. So remember, you find the slope. There's a slope formula. The slope formula is the difference in the y's divided by the difference in the x's. Okay, so it's going to be 27,000 minus 0 over 0 minus 12. All right, so that's going to be 27,000 divided by 12. That's going to be, M is going to be negative 2,250. That's how much the car is going to lose value every year. It's going to lose $2,250 of its value each year. So my equation is going to be Y equals negative 2,250x plus 27,000. Now here's the thing. This is for tax purposes because a car is not going to lose the same amount of money every year. What happens is it doesn't actually depreciate like this. It actually is going to depreciate like this. Okay, it's going to depreciate more at the beginning and then less later because it's mostly a percentage of the car. Okay, and then, you know, even if it's a pile of junk when you're done, it has some value. You can sell it for parts or for recycling or something, so it never actually hits 0. But it can get pretty close to 0. I had one that got down to $350. Okay, given the information above, what will the car be worth after 5.5 years? So here's what we can do, is we can make a graph. So here's 27,000 is right there on my graph, and this is hard to see. It's 30,000, 28,000, 26,000, so this is 27,000 right in the middle here. And along the bottom is the years, okay? Here's 12 years, it's worth 0. All right, so we're going to get our line maker so we get a nice straight line. Make it red so it stands out. There's my depreciation line. Okay? So, what we can do if we want to know what that car is going to be worth in 5.5 years is we go here along to 5.5 years. And we go up like this. And then we go over like this. Okay, so that's between $14,000 and $15,000. So I would say it's going to be worth $14,500. Okay, now what I could do is I could plug it into my equation here and figure it out for sure. So I can do it two ways. I can do it on a graph or I can figure it out. Now this just gives me the better answer. So Y would equal negative 2,250 times X is going to be 5.5 plus 27,000. Okay, so I get out my handy dandy TI-84 plus C Silver Edition graphing calculator, and I do that. Negative 2,250 times 5.5 plus 27,000. And that, I got to be careful here because that looks a lot like a 22,000, so we'll make it obvious. Okay, and my answer comes out to be Y equals $14,625. Okay, so this is why I prefer to use algebra over a graph personally, because I don't know exactly where that's going to, it depends on how good I do my graph. Now I was close. I was off by $125, so that's pretty good. But there you go. Okay, a car is purchased for $36,000 and will lose all of its value after 8 years. Find each of the following. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause the video. You can look at example 1 here and do example 2. Okay, there's even a graph here you can look at. I wish I could get it all on one page for you, but I can't. So figure these things, at least figure these 4 things out. And you can do this algebraically, and then come back in and compare with what I get. Okay, so pause the video now. Okay, so my Y-intercept is going to be the value of the car when I purchase it. It's $36,000. The X-intercept is going to be 8. Because it's 8 years, it's worth nothing. Okay, what's the slope? So I have to calculate the slope. So the slope is going to be, you know, if I look at my graph, 36,000 zeros right there, and, or I'm sorry, 36,000 is there, and 8 zeros right there. So if I was, oh man, this is going to be tough to make this line. So let's do this. Let's shrink this picture so we can get it all in one deal here. Now let's take this and move it right there. Okay. Whoops, I got to move this too. All right, so then I can make my line goes from here down to there. Okay? So that's what it's going to depreciate like. Move this up a bit. All right, let's calculate that slope. So the slope is going to be the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's. So here's my slope formula. Oops. Got that messed up, didn't I? It's m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I suggest that you know that. So I've got one point here at 36,000. So that's one of my points. My other point is at 80. So I'm going to plug those in here. So it's going to be 36,000 minus 0, y2 minus y1, over x1, or x2, minus x1. That's my slope. Ah. Okay, so I'm going to calculate that 36,000 divided by -8. So m is going to be negative 4,500. So it's going to lose $4,500 in value every year. Okay, so y equals mx plus b is going to be y equals negative 4,500 x plus 36,000. Okay, so then the question was, how much is the car going to be worth after 4.2 years? So I'm going to substitute 4.2 in here for this. Okay, so y is going to be negative 4,500 times 4.2 plus 36,000. So I get out my calculator. And I get y is going to be $17,100. Okay, now what I do like graphs for is once you have the answer, you can check to see if you're reasonable or not. So if I go to like 4.2 years, that's like right about there. And I follow this up to right there. And I go over here. I'm in the ballpark. Definitely in the ballpark. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about my answer. Okay. Unless you have a large amount of money saved, purchasing a vehicle may require taking out an auto loan. So after a certain amount of time, the value of the vehicle is less than the amount of the money you have paid on your loan. Okay, so here's the thing. The value of the car is going to go down. The amount of money you pay on the car is going to go up. Somewhere those two lines are going to cross each other. That's when the value of the car is worth the same as what you still owe on the car. Or what you pay, what you paid on the car. So a lot of people will sell a car when it reaches that point. Okay, so it says graph the depreciation line we calculated in example 1. So we got to go back and get that. Example 1, so the line was this. So we're going to take that line and we're going to copy it and we're going to paste it right here. Well, that's not what I wanted. Let's try it again. Copy. Paste. There we go. Okay, so there's the line. So we're going to go ahead and graph that. So this is started out 27,000, which was right here, and it was what, 12 years? 12 years it was worth nothing. So we go out here to 12, oh, there it's worth nothing right there. So we're going to make a line that goes between the two. You want to make sure you do a pretty good line too, as accurate as you can. So let's make this a little thinner. Make sure we're right here. All right, so that's pretty accurate. We'll make that line so it stands out. Okay, there's my depreciation line. That's this. So let's do this. Let's make it red. So it goes with that. Okay, now when purchasing the vehicle, you pay $6,000 as down payment, and then you make monthly payments of $250 per month. So the Y-intercept on that is going to be $6,000 because you put that down on time 0. Okay? And you're going to make $250 a month payments. That's going to be your slope. So it says give another point. So, you know, here's what you can do. Here's your equation. It's going to be y is going to be 250 times x plus 6,000. Actually, that's going to be per month. So if you pay $250 a month, your slope in years, let's see, 250 times 12, that's going to be 3,000. So let's do this. Now we're all in the same years here. The x's are the same. So this is going to be 3,000 x. Okay. So I put a point here at, I like that point. Let's make it a little smaller. So at 6,000, that's year 0. And I'm going to have paid $3,000 after year 1. So here's year 1, and there's 9,000. Year 2, it's going to be 12,000. Year 3, it's going to be 15,000. Right there. So you can see my line. So let's make a line. We'll make it green. And make it nice and thin here. This is what I paid for the car. That's when I gotta go right there. All right, so if you look here, I'll have this thing paid off in 7 years. Okay, so I got a bunch of other points that I just put on here. Okay, so I could put any point on here would go here, so I could do, I don't know, 2 and 12,000. Okay, now, when is the amount that I've paid equal to the value of the car? That would be, that'd be right there, at $18,000 at time 4 years. So it's the point for 18,000. So a lot of people would recommend you sell that car because you're paying a bunch of money for a car that's not worth that much anymore. Okay. So where do the lines intersect? What is the importance of the point? The lines intersect at the point 418,000, and that is the point where the value of the car is equal to the amount I paid. Okay. Now notice it didn't start at 0. It started at 6,000 because I said I had a down payment of $6,000. So I had to give 6,000 at times 0 to get that car. Okay. And then the reason I put 3,000 here, remember, is because it tells me I'm paying it says that, where did I go here? Sorry, technical difficulties today. So it says that I'm paying $250 a month, but the scale on the bottom is in years. Okay? So I want to make sure that I convert this to years. So 250 times 12 is 3,000. It's costing me $3,000 a year. Okay. Now, if I was working on tax stuff here, this was a business car. All right. At this point, I would have depreciated the car, and I would have paid for the car the same amount. And so if I sold it and I got $18,000 for it, there's no tax penalty to me. If I go beyond this, okay, and I sell it for, let's say I took it all the way to the end, all right, but the thing was still worth $6,000 at the end that I could sell it for, okay, I've depreciated it down to 0 on my taxes, so if I sell it for $6,000, now I have they consider that an income of $6,000 that I have to pay taxes on. Okay, graph the depreciation line we calculated in example 2. So grab that. Here's example 2. So we will copy that, and we will paste it right here. So there's the equation. Okay, so it was worth $36,000 when I bought it, and 8 years later it was worth 0. So I need a nice line that goes, let's try this again, shrink this baby, so we can get it all on one page. All right, let's try this again. So 36,000 and 80 is right here. So then I'm going to make a nice bright red line. It goes from here to there. Okay, I'd want to, if I was doing this on a piece of graph paper, I would definitely want to use a straight edge to do that. All right, there's my depreciation. Okay, now we purchased the vehicle, we made an $8,000 down payment, so we're going to start at $8,000 right here. And we make monthly payments of $125 per month. So the Y-Intercept's easy, it's 8,000. Okay, we'll worry about another point in a minute. So $125 a month, since this is in years, I want to convert this to years, so times 12. Is that 1,000? No. So 1500, yeah, there we go. 1500. So my slope is going to be 1500. So my equation then is going to be y equals 1500 x plus 8,000. Okay, so let's see, 1500, that's going to be easier to do 2 years, so that'd be 3,000. So in 2 years, it'd be 11,000. In another 2 years, it'd be 14,000. Oops, right here. Okay, so I got enough to make a nice line now. This line's going to be like this. Okay, so I'm not going to pay, this vehicle depreciates so fast. I'm going to be paying for this forever to pay it off with those payments, and the value is not going to be there. So this would be a car that you would definitely want to get rid of before you pay this thing off. Okay, so that's a crazy low payment right there. I don't think anybody would actually give you that payment. All right, so another point that would be on there is you might say, oh, this point's on there. That's the point 14,000. Okay, now, where did those things intersect? And we already talked about what the importance is, so we're going to go ahead and skip that, but we'll find that point. So, let's see. The best way to do that. Actually, the best way, since this kind of falls in between here, and I can't really tell what the x or the y really is, the best way to find exactly where that is to take the two equations. So y is equal to this, but y is also equal to that. Set those two things equal. So 1,500 x plus 8,000 is going to equal negative 4,500 x plus 36,000. Okay, this is how you're going to find the value exactly. You're going to solve this. So how would I solve this? Well, I'd combine my like terms. So I'm going to add 4,500x to both sides. That's going to give me 6,000x plus 8,000 equals 36,000. Then I'm going to subtract the 8,000 from both sides. And I'll get 6,000x is going to equal 28,000. And then I'm going to divide by 6,000. So x is going to equal 4.6 repeating, or 4 2/3 years. See, 2/3 of a year is 8 months, so that'd be 4 years, 8 months. Okay, does that kind of go with what we've got here? Let's see, 4 years and 8 months would be right about there. Sure enough, looks pretty good. Okay, if you get a little confused by this, go back and watch this again and see what that is, and then ask questions in class. Use a graphing calculator to estimate when to sell a vehicle. Okay, so a car valued at $33,000 will have no value after 120 months. The purchaser puts $1,500 down and pays $375 a month. Okay, so I need to write an equation for both of these. So remember, they're both going to be y equals mx plus b. Now, they're both in months, so I'm going to use that. I have to figure out the slope and the y-intercept to get the equation. The y-intercept I have here, it's worth 33,000, okay? But I need to get the slope. So I have the point 0, 33,000, and then I have the point 120, 0, because that's when it's worth nothing. Okay, so this is going to be the difference in the y, so 33,000 over minus 0, by the way, over 0 minus 120. So this is going to be 33,000 divided by negative 120. Negative 275. So it's losing $275 a month. So my equation is going to be y equals negative 275x plus 33,000. That's my first equation. All right, and let's, you know what, since we're kind of doing depreciation in red, we're going to make all this red. All right, then we're doing the car payments in green, which kind of makes sense because I'm paying out green the whole time. So this one, though he puts down $1,500, so that's my y-intercept, and pays $375 a month, that's my slope. So that's a little easier to do. Y is going to be 375x plus 1,500. Okay, now it says find the point of intersection and round numbers in 2 decimal places. This is going to be not something you want to do in a graph. Okay, so you can use a graphing calculator to do this. So here's what you do. You push, first thing you do is you push the mode key and you make sure that you go down to the 4th row. It should say FUNC, should be highlighted. Okay. And now you're going to push y equals, and if there's any equations in there, you clear them. So my first equation is going to be negative 275. My x key is right here next to the green alpha key. So I push x plus 33,000. And then I hit enter. Now equation 2 is going to be 375. Again, I push my x key plus 1,500. Enter. Okay. Now, I can hit graph. And probably you're not going to see anything. Because I do have a vertical line in there. What's going on? Is there a stray equation in here? I don't know what that's about. Okay. That's weird. So, anyway, I have to adjust the window so I'm looking at the right window. So essentially what's happening in this is, I got graphs that look something like this, and I'm looking at this little window that's like right down here. I need to expand the window so that it includes this stuff. Okay? So, how do I expand my window? Well, I need my equation, I need my y's to go up to at least 33,000. So, I'm going to go to window key is right here. Okay, right next to the y equals key, there's my window key. I push the window key. And right now it says negative 10 for my x minimum. Okay, so my x's, they have to go up to at least 120 months. So I'm going to push 0 for the x minimum, and I'm going to put 120 for the x maximum. And then the next thing says XSCL, that means X scale. Probably going to count by tens. Okay? And then my Y minimum, I'm going to make 0. And my Y maximum, I'm going to make 33,000. And probably I'm going to count by, 3,000. Okay, now if I hit graph, Now I can see my one equation, and there's my other equation, okay? So I get something that's looking, here's my window, and I get the red equation goes like this, and my green equation goes like this. All right, now what I want to do is I want to find that point using my calculator, okay? So if you look right here, it says there's a trace key. It's the fourth one from the right, okay? And right above that it says calc. So it's in blue. So you push the blue second key, and then you push calculate, and then you look, and down number 5 is intersect. So you hit 5. Now what it does is it puts a little X, put mine right there, it can be anywhere, and it says first curve. So what you want to do is you want to use the arrow keys over here to move that until it's pretty close to that. So I just kind of move the little X thingy over until it's, as close to here as I can get. And then I hit enter. And now it says second curve. Well, it's already on that spot on the second curve. It's now on the green line. So I'm just going to hit enter again, and it says guess, and I hit enter a third time, and it tells me the intersection is the point. So this point right here is the point 48.46, 19,673.08. Okay, that's my point of intersection. What does that tell me? It tells me that's 48.5 months. Okay? So when should you sell this vehicle? In about 48.5 months. Okay? And what do you think it'll be worth? It should be worth 19,673.08 approximately. Now, just because your depreciation schedule says that's what it's worth doesn't mean that's what you're going to get. You might get more, you might get less. Okay? So here's my point of intersection rounded to 2 decimals for both of those. Now, if I don't have a graphing calculator, can I still do this problem? Yep, I can. So how do I do that? Here's what I do. I'm going to take this equation, 375x plus 1,500, and I'm going to set it equal to that equation, negative 275x plus 33,000. So I want to know, when are those two things equal? When is the green line and the red line equal? And now I just got to do some algebra. So I'm going to add 275x to both sides. Okay, obviously, if you don't have to do it this way, if you got a graphing calculator, great. If you don't, you're going to have to do it this way. Okay, so 375 plus 275, this is going to be 650x right here. Okay, next, I'm going to move the 1,500 over here. So I'm going to subtract 1,500 from both sides. So I get 650x equals 31,500. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 650. So x it should be 48.5-ish approximately. So 31,500 divided by 650, 48.46, there we go. Okay, now how do I find the y-intercept? Well, now that I know the x, I just take the value for x, and I can put it into either one of these two equations. It doesn't make any difference, because they're equal there. So I'm going to choose this one because everything's positive. Okay, so I'm going to plug it in there, and I'm going to get 375 times 48.46 plus 1,500. Okay, so 375 times 48.46 plus 1,500, bam, 19,672.50. Okay, is that exactly this? No, but that's good enough. Okay, I would not mark that wrong. And there you go. Now, the reason that this is different than that is because I rounded this to 2 decimal places. If I had left the other decimals on there, I could have got closer. Okay, a car valued at $33,000 will have no value after 120 months. The purchaser puts $4,000 down and pays $560 a month. Write the 2 equations. Okay, so the second equation is the easiest one to get. So y equals, he's paying $560 a month, plus he gave him $4,000 to start with. So that's easy. Do the easy stuff first. Always do the easy stuff first, and that kind of warms your brain up, and then you can do the more difficult stuff later. Okay, the other equation. I got 2 points here. I've got the point 033,000, and I've got the point 120, 0. Okay, so the y-intercept is easy to figure out. That's going to be plus 33,000. Okay, the hard part is I don't know what the slope is yet, so I got to figure that out. So it's the difference in the y, so it's 33,000 minus 0, or the difference in the x's, which is 0, minus 120. So that's going to be 33,000 divided by negative 120. Comes out to negative 275 again. Okay, so there's my equation. Find the point of intersection, round the numbers to 2 decimal places. Okay, so I can do it with my calculator. So if you have a graphing calculator, or you can go on Desmos. If you don't, you can do it on Desmos. Okay, I put in, okay, this is the same equation that I had before for y1, so I'm just going to arrow down to y2, and I'm going to change this to 560x plus 4,000. And I'm going to graph it again. Okay, so now my graph is a little steeper this time. So I've got, this one is the same as it was before, but the green one's steeper, so it looks like this. All right, so I'm looking for this point right here. So again, I go to second calculate. Number 5 is intersect, press 5. It put my little X mark right here. I'm going to move it using my left arrow key. I'm going to move it over to here, as close to that intersection as I can. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit enter a second time, and I'm going to hit enter a third time, and it's going to tell me the answer. It says it's 34.73, 23,449.10. So, what does that mean? After 34 and basically 3/4 months, the vehicle is going to be worth $23,449. Okay? So when should you sell this vehicle? In 34.75 months. Okay, what if I don't have a graphing calculator? What do I do? Very simple. I take this equation here, 560x plus 4,000. I set it equal to that equation right there, negative 275x plus 33,000. And I'm going to solve for x. Okay, so again, I'm going to add 275x to both sides to get all my x's on one side. So this is going to be 560 plus 275 will be 835x plus 4,000 equals 33,000. Then I'm going to subtract 4,000 from both sides to get all my numbers on the same page, so I'm going to get 835x is going to be equal to 29,000. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 835. So 29,000 divided by 835 is going to be 34.75. Wait, 73, sorry. Trying to be accurate to 2 decimal places. Okay, now if I need the value of the car, I'm going to take this value right here. I'm going to plug it in for x. So I'm going to get 560 times 34.73 plus 4,000. So do that on my calculator. 560 times 34.73 plus 4,000 comes out to $23,448.80, which is really close to my answer. I'm off by 30 cents. So that's good enough for me. Okay. One more time. So, a car valued at $27,350 will depreciate at about $250 a month. The purchaser puts $5,500 down and pays $425 a month. So here's what I want you to do. This is just like the last two problems. I want you to pause the video. I want you to do this problem. Then I want you to jump back in here and compare it to what I got. So go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, so equation 2 is the easiest one. We'll do it first. Y equals $425 per month plus $5,500. Okay, on this one, I have to figure out the slope. So the Y-intercept is easy. It's 27,350. Okay, I just got to figure out M. So that's going to be the point 0, 27,350. And the point, it's going to depreciate $250 a month. Oh, it tells me that already. Okay. So there's my slope, negative 250. So I don't have to figure it out on this one. Okay, easy. So I go into my y equals. Okay, my first one is negative 250x plus 27,350. My second one is 425x plus 5,500. I can probably use the same window. So I hit graph, and sure enough, gives me a graph that looks like this, and like this. Okay, so I want to find this point. So I'm going to hit second calculate. Number 5 is intersect. I'm going to move my arrow to where they intersect as close as I can. Hit enter, and hit enter. And it tells me that the answer is 32.37, 19,257.41. So in 32 1/3 months, this car should be worth $19,257.41. Okay, again, if I don't have a graphing calculator, if I don't have access to the Desmos or some other thing, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 425x. This is the way we had to do it when I was in high school, plus 5,500, because this did not exist. Okay, that's going to equal this equation here, negative 250x plus 27,350. All right, I'm going to add 250x to both sides. So So this is 675x plus 5,500 equals 27,350. I'm going to subtract 5,500 from both sides. 675x equals 21,850. I'm going to divide both sides by 675. X is going to be 32.37. Then I'm going to take that value right there. I'm going to substitute it back in here. So I'm going to get 425 times 32.37 plus 5,500. And I get $19,257.41. And there you go. Hopefully you got that correct. Okay, so you're going to do pages 6 and 7 of your packet. Here's page 6. Here's page 7. They're not 100% clear on here, so I put the actual pictures on Google Classroom so that you can have something nice to look at. And good luck with that, and I'll see you next time.